This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I am here today in the company of none other than the wonderful Valentina Abbona, who is joining us all the way from the town of Barolo in Piemonte. How are you today, Valentina?
I'm beautiful, thank you. And I'm even happier because we get to see each other again. It's been
It's
too long.
it's been a really long time. Um, well, thank you for joining me today. Very much appreciated. Now, first of all, let's go back to the beginning of the year. How did the ongoing pandemic impact you back then? And when was the first time that you really realized that it was something quite serious?
So I have to be honest with you, until it became very clear to everyone. So this was the beginning of March. I was not I was maybe not too concerned about it. I was thinking, yeah, we will overtake this. It is a difficult situation. Of course, we already set some alarms back in February, but our life still went quite smoothly as usual. It was just in the beginning of March that I realized that this was nothing I could have ever expected. I remember I was actually out with some friends, and we received the news the north of Italy was in total lockdown. So we went home. Of course, as soon as we read the news, we went back, and from there on, I never went away until a couple months ago. So it was definitely more serious than what I thought at the beginning. But
How did it impact your little part of the world and the town of Barolo in particular?
well, you've been in Barolo. Barolo is a small village. We are only 700 people, but it's so known all over the world because of the great wines that we make here, that we had so many tourists, people that visited the region, that visit the town, that visit our home on a daily basis. And we were not used to being alone anymore.
Right.
So it's been, this probably is what it was most shocking. Two things. The fact that and this was positive. We were all again together, which didn't happen for a very long time because we were always traveling on one part and the other of the world. Uh, but on the other side, we were used to have many people at home with us, and this time we were completely alone. So this was quite shocking. I mean, we were used to speak different languages at home, and have people from every single corner, and it was not like that any longer.
I feel bad calling Barolo a town. It is quite small, I forgot. So my apologies there. Now, how did it impact your business? Because you wouldn't have people coming to the cellar door or anything like that. And then with the restaurants being closed, many of your wines go into restaurants. What happened there?
Well, everything we were navigating at site day by day. So every day we were thinking, so how do we address the situation now? Because every day seemed like we had a new piece of this puzzle to rebuild what could have been our future. Um, so yeah, we didn't have visitors at the winery. So of course, all of the hospitality was shut down. No visits in the cellar, no tastings, no dinners or lunch
Hmm.
in our restaurant at home. And of course, this is the same thing that happened outside our home and outside the village of Barolo. So the most of our clients, which are in the Orca channel, suffered just as we suffered. That old channel was completely shut down for months. We had to basically reinvent ourselves. I singly called most of them personally in Italy and outside Italy, because Italy is still our number one market. So I did many phone calls here. I did many phone calls outside, just to still have a sort of feeling to be close anyways, even though we were in different parts of the country or in
Hmm.
different parts of the world. In that case, there's a sort of good feeling that we were in this situation all together. We were all on the same boat and
Yes,
navigating in
yes.
the same direction, which we didn't know exactly which one it was. And that helped. I think that this gave strength to each one. of us, and therefore we started to have a little bit more clear ideas. Together with my brother, we've been very active working him in the cellars, because we stopped, but the wine didn't.
Of
So we
course, of
had to
course.
be active there. And we were lucky that we lived right on top of the winery, so it was easy for us to go and check on the situation. And we still had a few collaborators which were able to come in and help us with these hard works that we had to do in the vineyards and in the cellars. And on the other side, for what concerns marketing and sales aspect, I tried to do many virtual tastings and educational seminars, just to again be close to our clients and help them, if we could, to find a solution altogether and still talk about what gives us passion,
Right.
wine. So we were all in our homes, but we were traveling with our dreams, we were traveling with our minds while we were tasting together, and that was nice.
So, where are you at today regarding lockdown or precautions and all of that stuff?
So at the moment, there is no lockdown in Italy. Of course, we have to take precautions. We are wearing masks when we go in closed places where when we are out in the open air, there is no need about that. But of course, social distancing, it's people are very taking attention to social distancing. So we are we're not allowed to be all close in the same place together. I would say that there is good respect of that. At least, with the in maybe the most aware generations, but little by little, I have the feeling that the more people are aware, the more precautions they're taking, and we are starting to look at a sort of light at the end of the tunnel.
Are you seeing any kind of second wave in Italy right now?
I personally, I hope not. I
Hmm.
mean, I can't make predictions. The numbers so far, they are talking about an increase in cases, but they're less in intensive therapies. So the hope is that the virus is still present, but in a more silent way, not so aggressive as it was before, or just that as we are doing a large numbers of checks and controls, we are finding bigger numbers and contagions, but again, in a very less aggressive form than earlier. So I hope that this is a good sign for avoiding a second wave.
Right. Are you satisfied with the way that your local government and your national government managed the pandemic?
It's very hard to say.
Right.
Italy, it's a tiny country, but very diverse and very rich in many senses. Also in terms of personalities and way of thinking. So it is difficult to have an overall look and opinion about this. As looking just locally, I would say that here in Barolo, we were very lucky that we didn't have so many cases, and the situation has been quite under control. The hospital here in Alba was one of the COVID hospitals, and it reacted very well to the situation. So I'm quite happy with that.
Right. Now, looking forward to the 2020 vintage, how are things shaping up there?
So far, so good. I hope that 2020 will be remembered as a beautiful year for wines. And I don't want to say that we want to forget all the rest, because we
Oh,
always learn
right.
from what happened
Yeah.
before. But for sure, I hope that the message that will be sent will be the one of a great harvest. We just finished to harvest our white varietals.
Yeah.
So we ended with Moscato, with Arneise. Since you've been here, we have few news. So we have a little bit of Sauvignon right in the town of
Oh,
Barolo,
wow. Okay.
that we use for a very special blend that our family's been making in the past few years, which is very successful. It's called the Bricamel, and it means the top of the hill of honey, because the vineyards grow in a situation where we also have bees that populate
Yes,
the
yeah.
vineyards again, and we're able to make a little bit of honey from those vineyards, especially the ones in Roero where we grow our Ernest. So those look beautiful when we brought them in the cellars, even though they were a little bit late ripening compared to what we expected at the beginning of summer. While the red varietals are still are going quite fast. So I'm looking at a harvest that can end quite soon compared to the predictions.
Normally throughout the year, I'm following the growing season for many different regions all over the world, but I've been so distracted with everything with the pandemic. I was quite unaware of how your growing season had been, but the red grapes are looking great right now.
They're looking beautiful. They are quite the good stage, so they look like they're going to ripen a little earlier compared to what we thought at the beginning.
Excellent. Well, I will look forward to tasting them at some point in the far-flung future. Valentina Abbona, thank you so much for joining us today at Good Food Revolution. It's always a pleasure to catch up with you, and stay safe.
Thank you. Same to you. And I look forward to cheering together and enjoying a nice glass of wine, and not, with a screen between us,
Right,
but
okay.
in person and very close.
Fingers crossed for that.
Fingers
Thank you very
crossed.
much, Valentina.
Thank you.